Kindle ruined my relationship with books. I know that sounds crazy. How could a reading device ruin your relationship with books and reading in general? I don't think it's supposed to, but that's just what happened to me. The day I got my Kindle paperback, I was probably the happiest girl in the world. I'm an avid reader. I have been since I was like 14 years old. I am now 22. Time really does fly. But I've been reading for a lot of years now, and I just never had a Kindle device. I was strictly a physical reader, and I did on occasion read ebooks as well, especially online, like an Ocean's PDF and those like sites, you know. But I just never had a Kindle. I was anti-Kindle. And one day my mom got it as a present for me. I was already looking into getting one, and my mom got it, and it was actually the happiest day of my life. I cherished this so much. The first thing I did was get Kindle Unlimited, and that was the start. That was the start of my demise, I think, because I just didn't feel like buying ebooks. Honestly, I feel like if I'm gonna spend money on a book, I want to have that book in physical form. There's nothing like seeing your books on a bookshelf. So with Kindle Unlimited, I was gonna be able to read a lot of books for $11.99 a month. I was like, that is a deal, so let me do that. And instead of maybe going for things that were going to improve my literary brain, I would just scroll the Kindle Unlimited section and maybe choose books that I wouldn't have otherwise. And I did read a lot. I read probably like 10 books in that month that I got the Kindle. I know some people read 10 books a month like on a regular. I used to be that person, but not anymore. So like when I do read 10 books a month, that's like a pretty good reading month for me. I was just zooming through them, just clicking. I read books like thrillers, because Kindle Unlimited has a lot of thrillers. I was never into thrillers before, and I just ate them up like this. Like, I wouldn't call them brain rot, because it's not brain rot. Like, I did enjoy a few of them. For example, I read the Housemaid series, and I actually enjoyed it because it was just enjoyable. Like, it had me hooked. But in introspect, is it like a work of literary masterpiece? Probably not, and it's okay to read all kinds of books. I'm the type of reader that will read anything, so it's okay. But when that's the only thing that you're reading and you're kind of like ignoring your TBR because you just want to read what's free here. And I did that for a lot of months, and eventually what happened is that I actually went into a reading slump. I stopped liking reading as much because I was just reading these books that ended up getting worse and worse and worse, because it's what I was finding on Kindle Unlimited. I was not going based on the things that I've been wanting to read for years. I was just going based on what was here in this Kindle. I actually stopped reading actual physical books because I got so used to this device. I was like, the act of opening a book and keeping it open was like taking years of my life. I was like, no, I can't sit like this. I need my little Kindle. I actually stopped reading after a few months of having my Kindle. I was still reading passively at the beginning of this year. Actually, the beginning of this year, I've probably read the least books like in my life, like since I started to read. Probably only read like 2 books in the first 3 months of the year, which for me, that's like so little. Like 2 books in 3 months is crazy for me. And I was like, what is happening? I used to love reading. Now I am just dreading it. But recently, I went to a bookstore and I hadn't been in such a long time. And I was like, oh my God, what is this magical place? Book covers, everything that I love in one store. And I was just like, you know what? I want to go pick up books that I've been wanting to read or have been on my radar. And I'm going to sit down and read them. So for example, I picked up Rebecca. I read it and I loved it. And I was like on a high. I was like, let's go buy another book. I picked up Bunny. These 2 books I've been wanting to read for a while. But I just hadn't because they're not free on Kindle. And I just like was not going to buy the ebook version. Like, I just don't see myself doing that. But when I had it in the actual physical form, I no longer was like dreading opening a book. I actually rediscovered the magic of what it is to hold a physical book in your hands and like to see it, to see the pages. It's like so magical. And I had forgotten all about that because of my Kindle. Granted, I misused it, okay? It's not the Kindle's fault. It was just how I was using it. By the way, these two books, immediately loved it, and now I'm like back on my reading grind fully. Like, I am reading. But that is not to say that I'm not going to not read on my Kindle anymore, because I actually am. I really enjoyed this device. It's like so portable. But no longer am I going to read things simply because they're free on Kindle Unlimited. I want to read books here that I actually want to read and I would buy. Yes, Kindle Unlimited is a great tool, especially if there are books that you really want to read. And sometimes it's also a good way to discover new things. Like, for example, the Housemaid series, like I said, I actually really enjoyed that. I think I'm going to like pause the Kindle for a little bit and focus more on reading physical form books. And that's my story. It's a cautionary tale, honestly. So if you don't have a Kindle or want to buy one and you're not sure if you should or not, buy it for sure, because it's a cool device. But beware. Beware of the trap that it can be. Don't jeopardize or don't ruin your reading taste or get into a reading slump because you're only reading things that are available here. Definitely still continue to read these books. It's really all about balance, and that's what I found out. If you guys enjoyed this video, this little chit chat talk, subscribe for more. This is my second video. I have another YouTube channel where I talk about hair care, and that's what I've been doing for a while. But this channel I literally just basically started, and I'm gonna be posting very often because reading is such a big part of my life, and I love to share that and just have open conversations about books. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Tell me down below if you guys have a Kindle and if you had this problem or are going through this problem. Is this a me thing only?